Can you guess where this coin is from? Because it took me a while to get this one right. I actually had to get out the CoinScope app and figure out what it is. This is going to be a 1 dinar from Tunisia. Shows a lady on here, I believe, working with different forms of agriculture scenes here. Touching branches, wheat to the side. There's a tractor behind her, palm tree in the background. 2013 on our calendar, 1434 on the Arabic calendar. Catalog number is KM347. And this coin was made from 1996 until this year of 2013. In foreign exchange value, this is worth in American money, United States, 31 cents. In today's video, we're going to go through the foreign coins that are on the screen right here. This is the second video out of 3 from my favorite visit to my favorite coin shop, where I was just blown away with how much good stuff I was able to get in one visit to my coin shop's 25-cent bin. And the best visit I've ever had. It was so good that I just wanted to examine these coins for about 4 months before I was able to finally sit down and record this video. So much going on here. So let's keep going. I am going to have a running tally of the book value of everything in this video, not because I'm trying to flip them or think I could even get the book price for any of these, but I'm just really curious. I'm a math guy and I like to see what the value is on some of these coins. So let's see what's next. Now, I had this coin, but this one is a significant upgrade to the one that I had, even though this one has some spots on it. This is going to be from Algeria, the Algerian Republic. This is a 20 centimes. We flip this one over. It's got a cornucopia on it, of course, a big 1972 for the date. Catalog number KM103. And because of the cornucopia, it doesn't have any words to go with it, but this is an FAO coin to encourage people to produce more food. Here's a coin in fairly rough shape, but it's really difficult to find. So at the bottom, it's CCCP for the Soviet Union. Fairly large copper coin. But it was only made 1 year, the year of 1924. Here we have the date. This side seems a little bit rougher. May have had a little bit of an impact in the middle, but it's a 3 kopeck. Catalog number in this one is Y78. This version of the coin has a plain edge. There is a reeded version, which is extremely rare. This coin in this condition is still $5. But the book price on this one, if you found it uncirculated mint state 60, book value is $200 on this. So that kind of goes to show you how tough it is to find in decent condition. Here we have a coin from Africa featuring a rim gazelle, R-H-I-M, rim. How you pronounce that? It's going to be a 10 francs coin from French, West Africa, and Togo. So Togo is specifically mentioned on this coin. This coin was dated 1957, but there was a 1956 version of this coin where French West Africa did not include Togo, so they remade their coins for this 1 year. Catalog number in this one is KM6, and it books for $1. The countries which made up French West Africa would have included Mauritania, Senegal, Dahomey, French Guinea, French Sudan, Ivory Coast, Upper Volta, and Niger. Take a look back at this side one more time. I'll occasionally find this coin. This is one of those that I'll pick it up every time I see it. It's from Ireland, and it's the 1 punt coin. That's essentially what they would call the 1 pound coin. So you see the 1 pound symbol, like what you would be seeing in Britain. I think that the Irish pound and the British pound were kind of pegged to each other. But now Ireland is on the euro, so this one doesn't have its foreign exchange value anymore. This one dates back to 1994, and we've got the harp design that we see on all the Irish coins. This is an Irish red deer, and this coin books for $2.25. Our next few coins are going to be from Romania, and I think the series seems like they have a small story to tell. This first one just says Romania in the banner. Some of these unfortunately have been cleaned, and you can see that not only is it well worn, but it's also got some scratches on this side. But we flip it over. This one's kind of plain. It says their currency 5 Boni, and it's dated 1906. If it had a J mint mark underneath the date, it would have been mated in Hamburg, Germany, but those without a mint mark were made in Belgium. This coin was only made from 1905 to 1906 during the reign of King Carol I. There in Romania. That last coin was catalog KM31, but now we're going to move to, just realized I was going out of order. So this is still Romania. This one's going to be a 2 lei. Bun pentru is essentially translates to good for, so this coin is good for 2 lei. This one is sadly very well worn. But it's dated 1924. Catalog is KM47. This happens during the reign of Ferdinand I. So this one is, again, no mint mark. If it was, it would appear right here, but no mint mark still means Belgium. But the other version of this coin has a lightning bolt right here underneath the lei, which would have meant it was made in Poissy, France. So this one's KM47. Now this next coin is sadly fairly well worn and cleaned, but it still is, I found this one to be really interesting. So this one's dated 1930. The king here is obviously a young child. And so his name is written as, I think that's pronounced Mihai I. Instead of king, it's Regale. So I think he's better known as King Mihai I. So this coin was only made in 1 year, in 1930. Flip it over. This one is a 5 lei. This one was made in Paris because it has the torch privy mark right here. And the other privy mark. There are other versions of this coin that have either the H for Heaton or KN for Kings Norton mint marks. And if you found this one uncirculated, this one would be worth $20. The last coin was KM48. This one's KM49. This one features King Carol II. Sadly, cleaned, but at least this one has some better details than the last one. And then we flip this one over. It is a 10 lei, but also made the year 1930. And again, we have some Paris privy marks of the cornucopia and a torch. The other version of this coin with no mint mark this time would have been made at the Royal London Mint, or the Royal Mint in London. This one also has a double C monogram for Carol II, and then kind of hold that up to what the last one looked like. So the coin of Mikhail came first, and then Carol II came later, even though they're both dated 1930. That last coin booked for $1.50. This one books for $3. And this is the last coin from Romania, but I'm going to tell a little bit of a story once we get to, now that we're on this one. So this one's a little bit later, dated 1943, so 13 years later. We're back to King Mihai again. This time when he was a child, the portrait was kind of well worn, but you can tell that he's a little bit older here. I think he's in his early to mid-20s as an age right here. So I thought it was interesting to see him on a coin, then disappear, and then see him back, and I figured there's got to be a story here. And so that's one of the things I like about collecting world coins is it causes me to look up stories that I knew nothing about. And so it's not like here in, as an American, they taught us the history of the Romanians. But I'll give my Cliff Note versions here. So Alexander was the king. I mean, Ferdinand was the king. And his son was Carol II, but Carol II decided that he was in love with what would have been a controversial relationship, similar to what Edward VIII did in Britain. Edward VIII was king and then decided to abdicate the throne so that he could be with his love. Well, Carol II decided that he was going to abdicate before his turn even came up. So it skipped to the grandson, which was the child at the time, Mihai I. Give him about 5 years or so as the official king, even though he wasn't the one doing the actual ruling at the time. There was a council set up to help him. But after about 5 years of being the king, Carol II decided he wanted to come back, be the king again. And so Carol II was a king for a few years. And then the Romanians at the time were kind of had their strings pulled by the communists. And they thought that they didn't want Carol running anymore, running the show. So they installed Mihai I back as king again as about a 20-year-old. Well, so he did well for a while, but he started realizing that the thing that the communists were doing was not good, and eventually he had to abdicate. In 1947, he abdicated the throne, and so I looked it up. So from 1947, when I pulled him up on Wikipedia, the guy on this coin died in 2017, meaning he was the ex-king for 70 years. During that time, the Romanians stayed under the control of the communists for many of those years. He ended up moving to Switzerland, later got married, had a bunch of children, but he wasn't really allowed to visit Romania. He did one time, but it wasn't until the socialists and the communists were pushed out that he finally had a chance to go back to his home, where he was still popular, even though it was many decades later. Then he passed away in 2017. So I just found this whole story fascinating, and I wouldn't have known any of it if I wasn't interested in world coins and the ones that I found at the coin store this particular day. We're going to move on to Ghana, where we have this coin with worth 5 pesewas from 1967. Ghana, Freedom and Justice. I believe these are cocoa beans or coffee beans. I forget which one, but catalog KM15, not a particularly valuable coin compared to some of the others. We're going to move on to a Canadian quarter. This comes from the year 2000, where they had a different commemorative coin every day of the year. This one is, and it had a different personality trait, I guess you'd say, or a description word for every month. This month is wisdom, and so this coin features an elderly man, and he is essentially sharing all of the wisdom and customs of Canada, represented by him holding a maple leaf, and he's going to be passing that knowledge and wisdom on to the young child as the sun is rising in the background, so that represents daybreak. So passing the Canadian heritage from the old onto the young. This entire series was called The Entry into the Third Millennium. Catalog number, this one is KM378. Here's a coin that I thought I had. I picked it up to be a trade piece, but as it turns out, I did not have this one. I picked it up because it looked like it was decent, possibly could be an upgrade in my collection, but even if it wasn't, I figured it could be a nice trade piece. But we flip it over, and as it turns out, I did not have this coin, and it looks really nice. So there's two things that are different about this coin. If you think you recognize it, you might not. First of all, the more common, newer version of this coin was made out of copper nickel, but this one is pure nickel. But also, there is a dash right here under the centimes, and so that goes away in the next version of this coin. So this coin is catalog KM 867. This was only made from 1914 to 1917, whereas the newer version went on for a couple of decades after that. But it's also really hard to find it. There are only 941,000 of these minted. This it's catalog number KM 867. And extra fine, this coin books for $7. So that's the grade I'm going to give it. If you found this one in the key date of 1917, where there are only 65,000 minted, in this condition, or an extra fine condition, the book price is $85 on here. So really happy to find that one. We're going to move on to Luxembourg, where the ruler at the time was shown here, Grand Duchess Charlotte. Coins dated 1949. Catalog number on this one's KM50. We flip this one over. This is a 5 franc coin. Sometimes they spell franc where the C looks kind of like a G. I don't think they pronounced it franc or franc, but it's a 5 franc. One thing I noticed about this coin was there's an A right here and a B right there. Go back to the portrait side again, and there's a stylized AB right here underneath the portrait of Charlotte. So that is not a mint mark. This was minted in Belgium, where they didn't include a mint mark. Instead, that is the initials of the engraver who designed both sides on here, had AB as initials. If this coin looks vaguely familiar, there is an aluminum version of this coin, which is newer and probably a lot easier to find. This comes from Hungary, or Magyar. Then as you read the legend around it, it's Magyar Alami Valtopens, which means this is the First Republic of Hungary. That lasted from 1946 to 1950. So this was soon after World War II, so in the with the meaning of peace, we have a dove holding an olive branch and a date of 1947. We flip it over. It's a tin filler with a Budapest mint mark, BP, at the bottom. So this side of the design, most of the design stayed the same when it became the People's Republic of Hungary in 1951, but they just made it out of aluminum and the name of the country changed. So they got rid of the Alami Valtopens on the other side. So this one is catalog KM 530. It's not that rare, I mean it's not that valuable, but it's sort of hard to find. That coin booked for 30 cents. We're going to move to the euro, to a country that, this is my first euro coin. We've got Monaco. So yeah, my first Monaco euro coin. So all of the brass colored coins of the series feature this knight, which is the seal of Prince Rainier III. And I believe this has only been made for 3 years, 2001, the year here. And so it has Paris Privy Mark. It was made in Paris, but the Mint Master Privy Mark right here on the right of the 2001 is a horseshoe. So only 320,000 of these were minted, which is why it's hard to find. Book value on this is $9. And double checking on Numista, they agree that that's about what this is worth. So really nice to find this in the quarter bin. We've got another country ruled by the British, so we have Queen Elizabeth on this side. This one's going to be 1 shilling from Nigeria, featuring palm there in the middle, dated 1959. Catalog number is KM5, and so we've got an interesting security reading. Reminds me of something I would see from, let's say, Hong Kong or so, when they were British controlled. This coin books for $2.25. Italian coins from this time period are not hard to find, but for some reason I never had this 5 centesimi. So we've got Vittorio Emanuele III on this side. Pretty good details, but it's ruined by a huge spot of corrosion over here. If there ever was a coin that you'd want to try and clean, maybe it's this one, but I don't think I will. So it's a 5 centimes dated 1918. Catalog number on this one's KM42. So based on the corrosion that's on here, I'm giving this a book value of 75 cents. But if it was without the spot, the extra fine book value of this is $20. So wish I had that. But you can see some details on the boat that the lady is standing on. We've got in part of the boat is the R mint mark right there. It has a couple of names edged on that side. So neat to find that. We're going to move to a couple of Italian coins that are, again, from still Vittorio Emanuele III. That I've seen these before. Not that hard to find, I don't think. But still a little bit different. So these are made out of stainless steel, but these are non-magnetic. The magnetic version is much easier to find, and so we've got my magnet here. They, I don't know if that's very convincing, but they just slide right off, where the magnetic version would have stuck to it. So it gets a different catalog number because they're non-magnetic. Now, one other thing to point out, this is one of those monarchs where not only is the calendar year on it, but also the year of the reign. So there's 2 different versions of the 1939 version. There's a year 13, but there's also a year 12, which is the year 12 is also harder to find. And so both of these coins come that way with both versions. Both in a 12 and a year 13, and also both come magnetic and non-magnetic. So these are coins 77A and 78A for the 1 lira and the 2 lira. The 1 lira books for $2 because it's better shape, and then the 2 lira books for $1. One more coin that is sadly ruined by corrosion a little bit. So this was after World War II. So this one features a plowman and some wheat. An aluminum coin. This one is here's the wheat, dated 1949. This is a 2 lira. Catalog number KM88. And so this specific year is considered a key date. So if you found this very fine condition, it would be worth $10. So with the corrosion that's here, I'm going to knock it down. Instead of saying $10 for very fine, I'm just going to write down $2.50 for this one. But there are only 1.35 million of these made. Now, I wouldn't call this corrosion, but where some of these still have their original luster and some have turned brown kind of makes this distracting on here. This coin is from Swaziland. If you're from the future, never heard of Swaziland, it's what is now known as Eswatini. This coin is a 1 cent from 1986, features a pineapple. There are two versions of this coin, catalog numbers KM39. There's a copper-plated steel version and a bronze version. So, kind of hard to tell the difference on here because of the way the metals kind of change colors. I'm saying this is the copper-plated steel version, but you can tell me what you think. There's another mystery going on here of who is depicted on here. One catalog says one thing, another catalog says another. One says this is King Mihai, and the other says this is Queen Dzline. And kind of hard to tell. I looked up pictures of both, and I'm leaning to say that it's Queen Dzline, but I can't say that for sure. That coin was only made for 1 year, as she was the queen because she was married to the king who died in office, and then Mihai came after her. Here's another coin that I thought I had, but I bought it just in case I didn't because I didn't remember one so small. But I've seen a few coins from Peru featuring Gran Almirante Miguel Grau. What seemed a little bit different was the double date there at the bottom, 1834 to 1984. So this coin celebrates the sesquicentennial, or the 150th anniversary of the birth of General Grau. And it is a 50 sols coin from 1984. Catalog number is KM297. So the following year, the coin was almost exactly the same, except it said 1985 on the back, and they got rid of the double dates on this side, so there's just a blank spot down here at the bottom. But the reason that I thought I had this coin was because of the year after that, in 1986, Peru switched off of the sols and they changed to the inti monetary system, which lasted from 1986 to 1990, and all of their circulating coins during that period featured the same portrait of General Grau. And so I didn't realize that they made another coin of Grau just a couple years before, so I certainly didn't have this one. I've got one more coin coming up back there after we get to the last quarter bin coin. This one's going to be from Egypt. So this one is a 1 millim. On our calendar, that's 1957 on the left. Their calendar is Arabic 1376 on the right. This comes from the Egypt Republic, which lasted from 1953 to 58. And for those of you who liked Egypt things, this features a Sphinx. So one thing I noticed on here was 3 scratches on the cheek. Those are not imperfections to the coin, but that's actually part of the design of the coin. You can see the scratches really well. I hold it up to the light. But there's also 3 versions of this coin that are very similar. This one is KM 377 because it's called the Large Sphinx. There are 2 other versions about the same time. So you see the initials that are right here. To me, that kind of looks like an I and an E. So in the small version of the Sphinx, the bottom of the Sphinx kind of covers up the IE, but that's where it stops. Whereas on this version, the large Sphinx, it gets closer to the edge. And then there's also a third version of the small Sphinx where it's called the double draped version or something like that. I saw pictures of both and I couldn't tell them apart, but that's okay because I didn't have that version. I had the large Sphinx here. So that one only books for 75 cents, but always good to pick up another coin that I didn't have. So these are all the coins that I picked out of the 25-cent bin that we've covered in this video. I paid $6 for everything that we've covered so far. The grand total of the $6 worth of coins from the first video in this series came up to $49.35. we did great, but we didn't do that great today. But still, this was comes to a total book value of $42.85 just for this pile of coins. So we're trending in the right direction on here. So I'll add everything up, including this bag of coins that aren't even going to be featured in it in the video, in video number 3. But I did have one other coin that I got from behind the counter. So it's from Niue, dated 2017. It's a proof coin featuring Elizabeth II at $2. So generally speaking, I do not like to buy these gimmicky silver rounds from Niue, but I saw this one and I just couldn't pass it up. Now I do like how it comes in a nice Apmex holder, which kind of reminds me of a graded coin. It's got the same shape as a graded coin on here, but this one features Darth Vader. So yeah, I usually don't buy these gimmicks. Typically these go for well over spot price, and I don't think that's worth it to get something like that. But just the way that they've got the mirror-like versus the matte version of Vader on here, I think that's really cool. But yeah, it even comes in this Apmex holder, which I don't think I'd want to take it out of it. I think it looks really neat in here. But 2017, it's the 1 ounce silver Niue Darth Vader 1 ounce coin. So on the day I bought that, usually this carries a pretty good premium for over spot price. These days, well, spot has been about $30 lately. On the day I'm recording it, it's still around $30. And while the Silver Eagles aren't, since about 2020, Silver Eagles have been running about $8 over spot price. Now I'd say they're about $7 over spot price. This one was $8 over spot price, so I paid $38 for it, and Numisa says I did pretty good for that. But I'm not looking to flip this one. I like this one because, especially because you know, I like Darth Vader and I like Star Wars, and my wife, who doesn't really care for coins, still likes Darth Vader, and she thinks this is cool. Likes looking at this one. There were 250,000 of these made, so I thought that would be a nice way to finish off this video. So I do have one more coin video of this series. My next video is going to be bag number 3 of the coins that I picked up from my favorite coin shop 4 months ago. So I'll catch you in that next video. Until then, bye.